Good morning, traders and investors. Steve Gans here, and I'd like to ask a favor from you up front. It seems as though I've struck a little bit of a nerve here on Lucid, a good nerve. When I did my video on Lucid, I'm getting a massive amount of comments, which is awesome. They're all favorable for Lucid. I haven't had maybe just one comment about will Lucid survive. I'm going to try to address that in the video here today. But if you like this content, if you'd like to see more of this sort of analysis and this sort of thing, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Of course, feel free to leave comments below, good, bad, or otherwise as well. If you watched the prior video, you know that I stumbled across the Lucid by going down and doing some shopping down at a mall in San Diego. And they had one of the shops there, one of the storefronts in the mall, had Lucids in it. And I walked in, took a look, and was really impressed with the vehicle. Wasn't necessarily shopping for a car and stumbled across this thing. The guy said, let's go for a drive. And my head just exploded. In the past, I've been a car guy longer than I've been a stock and options guy. And I'm going to show you some of the cars that I've owned over the years on the screen here. These particular cars are ones that I restored all the way back in the 80s. That's how I earned some additional money. I lived in Illinois, and in the winters, a buddy of mine and I would buy a beater car. We'd pull it into the garage. I'd do the body work and the paint work. He'd do the motor work. And in the spring, we'd roll out a cool looking car like some of these and sell those, stick the money away. And then after doing that for a number of years, I was able to start buying some cooler cars like the ones you're seeing here. And so again, I've always been a fan of nice cars. Most recently, I had this Tesla. Awesome car. Loved the car. Great car. I ended up not driving it very much, so I ended up selling the car, and I basically take my motorcycle wherever I go now. But when I drove this car, I got the feeling that I got when I drove my very first Tesla probably 12 years ago. And I was just blown away by the Tesla Model S at that time. And I owned three of them over a number of years. And then again, ended up just selling the car, using the motorcycle mainly. But when I drove this particular Lucid, I got that same feeling that I had with that original Tesla. My head just exploded. I went out and started going down the rabbit hole on doing some car shopping. And I went out and I looked at and drove the Mercedes EQS. I looked at Audi's electric products. I want an EV at this point. I looked at the Genesis. I looked at even the Mercedes AMG electric product. I looked at pretty much everything out there, and quite frankly, nothing compared to this car, even close. And when I was in dealerships and the dealers would ask, what sort of cars are you looking at? As soon as I mentioned this one, they got this kind of blank look on their face and they said, yeah, we can't compete with that. And what they can't compete with is a 0 to 60 time that's at 3 seconds. Now, this is for the Grand Touring model. Interior cabin room that is massive. A range that's pushing 500-mile storage capabilities, massive storage capabilities in the Lucid. The frunk is huge. I can almost put my body, 6'3", in that frunk and close the lid. Mercedes doesn't even have a frunk. You can't even open the hood of their car. I don't understand that at all. A massive trunk on this. Again, great interior legroom, great amenities, side curtains, rear curtain, all of that sort of stuff. A great app on the phone. They just simply can't compete with this particular vehicle at the price point. I will say, if you're looking for any sort of a car, whether you're looking for an ICE internal combustion engine or looking for an electric car, you owe it to yourself to at least check this out. The base model leases for right in the range of most other mid-level sports cars or mid-level sedans in that $600 a month range. And, you know, the question is Lucid going to survive? Is it not? I personally think they definitely will. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But if you lease a car, it doesn't make a huge amount of difference because you'll turn it in at the end of that time anyway. And their charging stations for these are pretty much everywhere. And they now will work on Tesla chargers as well. All that said, I've got my car on order. It's going to arrive here in probably about 4 to 6 weeks. But let's look at the stock because I doubled my position in Lucid stock after taking an overnight test drive. Looking at Lucid stock, it's trading around $2.75. Back at its launch, Lucid had been trading all the way up here at around $47 or so. They've run into financial situations over the years and have dropped considerably in value. However, I want to share with you that the large Saudi investment fund has been pumping billions of dollars into them. They appear to have a pretty strong commitment to them, and I don't think they're going to let Lucid fail, personally. So again, that's my take on this. But I want to show you something else. I want to show you back in the day, Tesla, back in its early days, was trading in the same general range, $2.50 range in there. And then all of a sudden, Tesla, once they finally started making more deliveries, just took off. And of course, as we know, never look back. We can roll all the way out here to current day where Tesla's trading in the $440 range. What I want to talk about here is an investment of $10,000. Would I put it in Lucid or would I put it in Tesla? So Tesla is less likely, of course, to go bankrupt, go out of business, etc. They're now a mature auto company, but still innovating, which is great. But Lucid, that $10,000 in Lucid, probably a little bit more risky on the sense of will they survive, won't they survive? Again, I'm making a bet that they will survive. But if I put my $10,000 in Lucid at $2.50 and it goes up to $10, my stake in that is going to be $40,000 because of that fourfold increase. I do believe that Lucid over time does have the potential to have a fourfold increase up to $10 a share. On the other hand, could Tesla increase 4 times from $400? I don't think it will in a reasonable amount of time. Now, of course, if we're looking 10 years down the road, maybe Tesla will increase fourfold. But I think there's a much better chance of having that type of increase in Lucid at this stage than I do in Tesla. Now, a couple of interesting facts on Lucid. Lucid Air, their current model, and let me show you that one. So this is the Lucid Air, and it is growing month by month in sales. They're still small numbers, but it's a consistent growth in sales numbers. The sales rep that I ordered my car from, I was asking him how sales were going. He said in November and December of last year, they beat the Model S as far as unit sales. Of course, not all Teslas, because a lot of Tesla buyers have gone to Model Y, Model 3 because they're lower priced, more entry-level models, and they're selling fewer Model S's. Now, I can't verify these numbers. I don't know the facts as to how those were gathered. This is him sharing that information with me that for the first time ever, they outsold the Model S. Now, I can find lots of news reports that the Model S sales are diminishing. Of course, the other ones are growing, but the Model S sales specifically are diminishing. And I think it's because of this thing right here. I think more and more people, when they go out and they evaluate A versus B, a Tesla Model S versus this Lucid Air. And again, I've owned 3 Tesla Model S's. This Lucid Air just absolutely crushes it every way imaginable. Comfort, ride quality, interior fit and finish, the whole bit. I doubled my position in Lucid, bought more shares. Obviously, I'm not making a stock recommendation. I want people to go out, do their research. I'm just relaying to you the path that I went down in evaluating these 2 products. And again, when I stumbled across this product and I evaluated it, I decided to make an investment. I will tell you that a couple other key things that I think are important in Lucid's future is they have started rolling out the Gravity, which is their SUV product. I haven't physically seen that or driven that yet, but they're apparently going to be in showrooms in March. They have lots and lots of orders in for that. I'm one of those as well. I don't know if I'll end up taking delivery on that vehicle for my wife to replace our SUV that we currently have, but I'm certainly in line on it and going to be looking at it in March when it's in the showroom and test driving it maybe around that same time. And again, appears to have lots of orders for that. I'm just hearing that, seeing that online. I don't have any specific numbers to back it up. But an SUV, of course, is a very hot product in the United States right now. So I think that's going to do very well for them. Then they also have a mid-level product that they plan on introducing in the not too distant future as well. One other little tidbit on Lucid is that they make all of their own components, and Lucids are made here in the United States. They make their own motors, their own software. They're totally self-developed, and their motors are one of the higher performance motors, if not the highest performance motor from a standpoint of torque, horsepower, as well as efficiency. And this motor is, as I understand it, is used in Formula E. You guys have all heard of Formula One. Well, Formula E is essentially the same type of racing, but with electric motors. And Lucid supplies all the electric motors for those Formula cars. So that should give you a hint as to how performance-oriented they are. And these things are pretty small. They're about 60 pounds. They can fit in a suitcase, in a little carry-on bag. And that's what's powering these cars. The fact that those motors are so small gives them more room for more batteries and also gives them more room for passengers and, of course, luggage, etc. Again, Lucid Air out now. Check it out. Gravity coming soon, and then a mid-size product coming at some point. It seems to be maybe about a year away or so. And I think those three things are really going to be launching this like Tesla got launched stock price-wise many years ago. I hope you like this. Again, give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will share more on this journey with you as it unfolds. Take care.